Welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Marcello Spade. Marcello, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Everybody wants to shine, but they can keep on wishing, 'cause ain't no stars made overnight, and ain't no competition out here.
That's an amazing song. But you guys forgot one thing, and that I am a huge Chicago Cubs fan.
See, Rene, I told you, Rene, it wasn't just the idea of Luke bringing this on. This is a native Chicagoan, a native son of Chicago, and he's willing to admit he, like myself, a Chicago Cubs fan, a fan of, as you said, the reigning and defending world champions of professional baseball, the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
Marcel, like I said,
that is right.
It's an opportunity. Like I said, it's our honor and privilege to have you here on the show. Like I said, we've had the opportunity to speak with the Shogun, Chris Logan. We've had the opportunity to talk with Shane Fury. And here tonight, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to yet another member of the Refinement Club. For those that are listening here to the Wrestle Talk podcast, can you give us a little bit of background of what kind of got you hooked into the world of professional wrestling?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer that, and I say that because I don't remember ever not liking wrestling. Like as far as I can remember, it's always kind of been a part of my life. I don't know. As far as one of the things that maybe actually got me hooked on it, I would just say the athleticism of it all. The characters, you know, that's an easy go-to, but you can find characters in any form of entertainment that you look into. But I don't know, with wrestling, it was just the athleticism, the things that people can, or the things that are done inside of the ring, and the ability that people have to just basically have people react how they want to react is absolutely.
Hey, appreciate it, Jeff. We had the feed go out just a few minutes ago, so
like I said, I mean, again,
thank you for letting me know what was going on. I appreciate it.
A lot of professional wrestlers,
South Asia.
That idea, like I say, once you get that first taste of professional, watching it,
please share.
Whether it's as a young child, as a teenager, a lot of people jump in at the Attitude Era as to what really hooked them into professional wrestling. But again, the idea that you hear a lot of times, a lot of professional wrestlers say they've been a fan pretty much as long as they can remember. I want to go ahead and touch very briefly on your debut and your training in the world of professional wrestling. Looking back here, as we were kind of talking earlier on this week, talking about the opportunity for you to get into professional wrestling, I was understanding that you made your debut with Windy City Pro. You trained with them. Can you give us a little bit about what your training was like to get into the world of professional wrestling?
It was like you said, I started with Windy City. It was around 2010. By the time I started, it was, and it's nothing against Windy City. I mean, a lot of places kind of have their glory days. They have their dying days. By the time I started, it was closer to the dying days than anything. Chris Logan is actually the person that trained me, so thank you to him. What was the other half of the question? I'm sorry.
Basically, can you explain a little bit of what the training was like as being a part of Windy City Pro, and then, and by turn, with Shogun Chris Logan?
I mean, it wasn't difficult. It also wasn't easy. Before you start, you hear a lot about how like trainers would just beat you. To my experience, I think that's more towards the guys who maybe are showing that maybe they don't want to get it, or are maybe showing that they're just in it just to say that they're doing something on the weekend and really have absolutely no passion for it whatsoever. I think that I came in with the old adage of mouth shut, ears open. So it was, I mean, as far as other people, I don't want to say I had it easy, but I had absolutely no complaint about the training. I'm still training to this day, like a lot of people still are. As far as with Chris, he'll probably kill me for saying this, but a lot of the times it's like, hey, well, I've never taken this before. Well, you're about to take it now and have it done. And then after it's like, oh, see, it's just a back bump, regardless of the move. It's just a back bump. You'll be fine.
Well, like I said, Marcello, I mean, again, when you're talking about professional wrestling, I mean, again, one of the things you said, which I thought was really unique, is the idea of saying that as a wrestler, you never stop learning. And I mean, again, from somebody who's been around wrestling as long as I have, almost 30 years, even as long as I've been around, you always are learning every day. It doesn't matter whether you're in the ring, out of the ring, on the road, in a hotel, at an event, whatever the case may be, you're always learning. I'm going to go turn things over to Joe Lance. I know he's got some questions he'd like to ask. So, Joe, go ahead and take it away.
I do. You are a part of Anarchy Pro. What's it like to wrestle for Anarchy Pro?
It was fun. I'm no longer a part of them, but the times that I was there, it was fun. It was a really nice learning experience. They were really my first home company. The owner, Santana Stark, opened. He gave me a lot of opportunities there. He gave me the whole take the ball and run with it. So he did give me that opportunity. I'd like to say I did pretty good with it. So it was pretty fun. It was a good learning experience there. I met a lot of cool people.
Okay. You also wrestled a guy by the name of the Nigerian Nightmare. What was it like to wrestle the Nigerian Nightmare?
Was that his full working name? Because I don't remember working guy by that name.
The Nigerian Nightmare, Akuma Okoyo?
Oh, okay, all right. It was different. Like every time you get in the ring with somebody, you're gonna get something a little different. So he was definitely different. It was fun, but he was different.
Okay.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
That's understandable. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it to Rene, because I'm sure he has a couple of questions himself. I don't want to take up all of the questions, so Rene, take it away.
I do, Marcello, man. I've been waiting patiently, man. I got some questions for you. Thank you for making time for us tonight, man. Truly, I know you're probably over there with your bulletproof vest, you know, and doing what you can to survive in good old Chirac. But listen, all kidding.
So I don't have it too bad.
No doubt. Hey, listen, I got family members in Cicero and on the South Side, bro. So yeah, I know what it is, man. Chicago's a fantastic town as long as you know your way around, if you know what I'm talking about. Let's start here, man. You are in a picture on your Facebook with a couple of guys that I know, Shane, Logan, of course, but also John West. And you guys are all rocking the Black Wrestlers Matter tees, bro. So tell me how that came about, because I thought that was like when I saw John West at Metro Pro here in KC about a year ago rocking that shirt, I was like, dog, that's like the dopest shirt. And I'm not a black dude, I'm Mexican. I just thought it was genius. So like, I'm curious, man, like, what's up with the Black Wrestlers Matter movement, man? I'm really digging that.
I would love to say that it's a movement. I would absolutely love to say that. But right now, it's a very small just voice. It's a group of friends who are just trying to prove that. And I'm not big on race, but I just think through the history of wrestling, even now, that a lot of black wrestlers, regardless of how talented they are, that maybe they don't get the same opportunity as their counterparts. That's not to say that they don't get opportunities, because they do. It's just that I think that I think that we may not, and by we I mean the black wrestling community as a whole, aren't necessarily getting the same light that a lot of the other professional wrestlers may be getting. That's not. I'm not saying that people are racist. That's just the way it is. I'm a big numbers guy, and I mean, white America is a large portion of the United States. So, are you going to have I mean, you're gonna have the face of what you're promoting as someone that has a larger number.
Well, you know what?
That's just the way I look at it.
You know what, man? I'm actually going to throw an example out there, and I kind of want to get everybody's opinion on this, if you don't mind, Marcello. So I'm looking at a guy like Apollo Crews. Great-looking kid, super talented, probably the best smile in the business. He came up simultaneously with a bunch of other guys that are now main eventing. Baron Corbin, for example. So I have to say that I agree with you, and I don't know if it's that he's not that great on the mic. I don't think Baron Corbin's that great on the mic, and he's a Kansas City guy, so I could easily just be a homer and go, yeah, Baron Corbin's way better than Apollo Crews. I don't think he is. So my question is that still that invisible ceiling that some of these guys can't get through? And then also I'll compass that statement by saying this, is seeing Jinder do what Jinder did gonna possibly start to turn that around for us a little bit? And I'll start with you, Marcello, because I'm sure you got some thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there is. I mean, you hit it on the head. The guy's hell of athletic. Great look to him. It's just about giving, or it's just about getting the opportunity. I mean, granted, he was brought up at a time when I think he debuted alongside Kaz and Enzo, right?
Right.
It's just about getting the opportunity. I mean, he was he's on TV, so he is getting some kind of opportunity. It's one thing to be invited to a dance by your date. It's another thing for your date to show you off. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a glass ceiling there. As far as gender, like, I think that was a great call. I absolutely love it. A lot of people may not necessarily like it. When you ask for change and then you get it and then you hate it, I mean, let it breathe a little bit. I would like to think so. Maybe if the WWE were trying to get a firm foothold in Africa or something, then maybe we'd see a guy like that. But if they are trying to expand out in India, they're trying to do a lot of stuff over in India, so what better way to do that than by having a guy like Jinder Mahal as the face of your company? So it was a smart move by them.
And Joe, I'll throw the same question to you, sir. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Do I have any thoughts? Or
no, Joe, my co-host Joe, I want to see if you wanted to pop in here real quick on that.
I totally agree with everything that you both are definitely saying. Like there definitely seems to be like this glass ceiling that some wrestlers just can't break. So I would totally have to agree 100%.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate that. And, not that we always get into huge, serious topics here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, but I mean, it's a valid question. Everything in 2017 should be on the table. We got we went from our first black president to our first orange president. So now we got to be willing to bring this stuff to the table and talk about it. And I figured Marcello, what was that, Marcello?
No, I agree with that. From the first black to the first orange.
Were you giggling? All right, so let's kick it back to actually in-ring action, man. You, sir, were in the ring not too long ago, in the not too distant past, with a guy who, when it comes to the NXT universe, kind of stole the show this past Saturday at NXT TakeOver Chicago. And that is formerly one half of DIY, and I think you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Tommaso Ciampa. Marcello, you have had the distinct honor, I think, of being in the ring with a guy like that. I'm curious, how does he compare to some of the other guys you have faced? Did you see it as a huge opportunity, or was it just another day at the office for you, man? What can you tell us about that experience?
I did see it as a huge opportunity. And again, not to sound cliche, but it definitely holds true. When you're able to get into the ring with someone who is ahead of you and your peers, you can definitely tell, especially when you're in the ring, the amount of control and poise that they show, their ability to place things where they should be placed, or maybe just call an audible when something isn't working. It's a word of a difference. And it's obviously not a knock on any of the other guys I've been in the ring with, because if they're telling the truth, then they're agreeing, if they've had the opportunity to be in a ring with someone of that caliber, that when you are in there with them, you know that you're in there with a true professional. And if you're not asking questions before you go out there, after you go out there, even sometimes when you're in there, then you're doing yourself a great disservice.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I loved it. I heard a lot of positive things in the back from the match. And yeah, it was just, after we were done, it was just nothing but just like a barrage of questions from me, to the point where I was like, okay, let me actually back off a little bit and give this guy some time to breathe.
Was he pretty stiff, man? I mean, was he really laying those chops in there? He's got a reputation for being kind of a stiff guy, and is that something you mind?
I didn't necessarily think so, but I was like we just touched on earlier, I was trained at Windy City, so we were kind of trained to lay it in there. Not to go out there and kill a guy, but also make yourself look like crap. So, I didn't think so. Like, I had no complaints from him. Like, I didn't feel he took any liberties or anything.
All right, very, very cool. Well, before I throw it back to Luke Roberts, I did have one final question. Best pizza joint in Chicago, bro. You're a native Chicagoan, and I don't want you to be biased. Like, I don't want you to pick the one you grew up around. Literally, what is the best pizza in Chicago, man? The listeners want to know.
Beggars, hands down. Like, you're gonna hear a lot of the pop. Beggars isn't unpopular, but a lot of the popular ones are Lou Malnati and Giordano's. Like, they're good, but they're kind of hit or miss depending on the location. I've never had a bad pizza from Beggars, regardless of where I've gone. Beggars, to me, is just the top pizza place in Chicago. So if you guys ever find yourself in Chicago, Beggars is the place to be.
That's right. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Let me throw back to Luke Roberts. Luke, jump on back in here. We got a few minutes left. We got to get in the shoot and shout. But I know you had at least one more question.
Well, first of all, I got to say, man, that kind of surprised me, Marcel. Again, as Giordano's guy I am, I've been up there a lot of times. I make a regular trip. And I'm surprised you didn't say Giordano's. Again, like I said, I'm kind of the same.
What up, Matt?
Maybe
what's up, everybody tuning in live? I appreciate it. We had some issues with the Facebook feed a little earlier, but we're back. Thank you guys for hitting the screen a few times. Thank you guys for sharing, man. It means the world to us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Marcello Spade, baby, doing big things. Recently coming off a match against Tommaso Ciampa. Big stuff.
For a promotion here in the St. Louis area called Metro East Championship Wrestling. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the first time that you actually teamed with Shane Fury. Can you kind of elaborate on your time in MECW and also elaborate on how your team with Shane Fury came into existence?
Yeah, I love my time in MECW. It's a shame that they had to close its doors around the time that they did. The brief time that we were there was fun. Shane and I actually became a tag team. We were training one day, and it was just, all right, well, you two get together, and you two get together. So after, it was like, oh, well,
that's that lean protein, Matt. I love it, bro. Please sure to hit the share button, man. Please, that means everything to us, man. We just want as many people to be able to tune in as possible, dude.
We were both just
Thank you.
been on.
Thank you.
Nothing but solo
Thank
stuff.
you.
So, at the end of the practice, or what have you, we kind of looked at each other like, maybe that would work. And it just happened to be his birthday, too. So, I kid you not, we go home separately, obviously, and start getting ready. and I'm just, going through my head, just, a bunch of ideas for us. So, show up, we're getting ready to leave, and I just lay it out there. Dude, we can do this, and I just, he can back this up, just lay it out, a crap load of stuff. We came up with our name that night, just some of the things we would do, colors, entrance, finisher, everything was laid out within, a couple of hours. Obviously, since then, some things have changed, some things have been tweaked, some things have stayed the same. But yeah, I mean, it was literally just kind of like on a whim that it happened. I'm loving.
Hey, Shelly, great to have you back. Thank you for tuning in. We're getting ready to go to break here in about 5 minutes, but we got a whole another hour to go. This will be a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. It means the world to us. Like I always tell people, man, thank you guys for sharing, tapping the screen, and for just tuning in. It means everything.
One thing I gotta
Thank
tell
you.
man, again, the opportunity, if you've never gotten to see Natural Fury team, Marcello Spade, Shane Fury, these two gentlemen, to give you an idea, Marcello reminded me at that time a lot of the cruiserweight style of the late 90s. I mean, again, he could bring so many different styles to the ring. He could go out there and fly, but he also, and again, a lot of times with pro wrestling, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be able to kind of speak your mind, and that's one thing that really stood out to me with Marcello Spade. But again, by the same token, he and Shane Fury both, when it came to getting inside the squared circle, they could back it up, and that's what really stood out to me when I first met these guys. And again, if you ever get an opportunity to see Marcello Spade in the ring, you got to make it a point. Check him out. If you're anywhere here in the Midwestern United States, you got to check him out. I mean, again, phenomenal guy in the ring. He's held many championships. I mean, if you look at his credentials, I mean, championships in Anarchy Pro, ARW, SSW. I mean, he's had singles championships, tag team championships. The man can pretty much do it all. You want him to fly, you want him to wrestle in the ring, you want him to brawl. He may not be the biggest guy in the fight, but I'm going to tell you this. He's got one of the biggest hearts that I've seen as a professional wrestler. And this man, each and every night, you get in the ring, you see Marcello Spade, I'm going to tell you this, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. This man brings it every time and is an awesome in-ring competitor. And Marcello, before we go ahead and let you go, I know you're very busy. You've got some upcoming events in the next few days. Rene, I know you're about ready for it. So we usually have a segment here called the Shoot and Shout. So Rene, you do a better explanation of the Shoot and Shout. Can you kind of explain what we're going to be doing here?
No doubt. And I think this is right up Marcello's alley. Here's what we do. We give you 30 seconds, and we'll all do it with you, one at a time. 30 seconds, man, to just rant, rave, and complain about anything on your mind that is pissing you off at the moment. It can be wrestling related. It doesn't necessarily have to be wrestling related. All we ask you to do is for about 30 seconds, man, bring the heat. Can you do it?
I can try my best.
All right, cool. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. All right, intern Timmy, you already know what music I'm looking for, baby. Why don't you go ahead and spin that? Let's get into Shoot and Shout.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to catch the vibe
By ripping someone's head off. What up, sis? It's night. Yo, let's do it. Hey, I volunteer to go first because I got one and I'm ready to fire off. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, here's mine. Less than 30 seconds. Attention, wrestling smarks. All you do, day in and day out, is complain about how bad WWE is because they continue to push the same guys over and over and over and over. It's Randy or Cena, right? You complain, you whine, you cry, and then eventually you get what you want, you get a new champion, and then you continue to complain because it's not the guy you wanted. Listen, you're not Vince McMahon. You're not Kevin Dunn. You're not anybody who has any damn control. So do me a favor. Enjoy the damn product. If you don't like it, quit your bitching on Twitter because you're clogging up my damn timeline. You got a new champ. You got a guy who deserved it. He's freaking different. He has a totally different feel to him than any champion we've had recently. So why don't you just shut your mouths and enjoy it for a second? No matter what they do, you always have something to complain about. And honestly, myself, the Night Owl, I'm sick and tired of it. You freaking smarts piss me off. No one can ever do anything right in your eyes, and while you sit down in your mom's basement, eat potato chips, eating soda, and watching reruns of Seinfeld. I'm sick and tired of them smarts, man. That's my Shoot and Shout for today. Who's next?
I don't know if I could follow that, Rene. I mean, I could tell you felt that from the heart. I mean, that was like from the very soles of your feet, man. That was pretty heavy.
You know, I'm Mexican, man. I'm all heart. You already know. You already know. That passion's in there, buddy.
Well, like I said, I'm Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here next. And again, this is one, Rene, you know where I'm coming from, and Marcello, I definitely think I know you can feel where I'm coming from on this. I got to tell you right now, I've had so many people jump on me in the last 2 days about the Cubs not being in first place. They're sitting here, the Cubs are done, the Cubs are this, the Cubs are that. They're not going to.
Matt's feeling me.
Guys, they're a
Matt's feeling me on Facebook.
Place. They're 23-21. The season's not even just barely a quarter of the way done. They're the world champions. Let them enjoy their moment. Let them enjoy the opportunity of having the world championship, because, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't a lot of people say this last year? And where did the World Series trophy wind up? That's my take for the week.
All right. Nightmare Jones, jump in, man. Show them how it's done.
Yes, mine is completely not wrestling related. Mine has to do with another thing that is really, really, really busting. It's driving me nuts. Okay, we all know that we had this bombing in Manchester the other night. A bunch of people died, and yet you go on Facebook and there are people that are making fun of what happened. That they're posting, fake news reports. Have some damn respect for the people that passed away. There's people out there today that will never get to see their kids again, and then you want to go on Facebook because you think that you're some cool guy and want to make fun of this bombing where a bunch of people died. And I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Woo! Nightmare Jones. I like the heat, buddy. All right, Marcello, you're up to bat, man. What do you got for us?
All right, I'm gonna take you back a little bit off of the Cubs. Yeah, I totally agree. The season is barely a quarter of the way in. I mean, everyone just calm down, stop jumping off the ledges. The Cubs are going to be fine. They're too good of a team not to be fine. And also to the people who still hate Cubs fans, give us a break. We waited over a century to see this happen, so we're still celebrating. Please let us enjoy this. A lot of people, it's a family thing. Baseball is a family sport. So, yes, we're crying, we're loving it, we're getting drunk still. Baseball, it runs in our blood, so just leave us alone. Let us enjoy it. If they don't win this year, then you can call it a fluke. Until then, it was not a fluke. The better team won, and they're the Chicago Cubs.
No.
Well, you know something? I'm going to jump in here real quick, and Rene, I know you're gonna go and you're gonna say that this is the Luke Roberts thing, but guys, I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes down to it, it's one of those things. Like you said, when it comes
Florida
to
tuning
sports,
into the broadcast, man. I like that.
Competition. People go out there each and every night, whether it's
people
professional
bitch to
baseball,
me
professional
at wrestling
football,
stuff in
professional
KC.
wrestling. The fact is, you have people that
Exactly.
are going out there and they're putting their.
We don't book the
themselves
show,
on
so
line
just
each and
enjoy
every day.
it.
And I think I'm
Quit your
summarizing
bitching.
pretty much everybody here tonight. And guys, the fact is, let sports be sports. Let the better team win. And right now, guys, again, things are going in pro baseball, professional wrestling. A lot of things are changing, but the fact is, people are always talking about it.
No doubt, no doubt. Always talking trash.
At the end of the day.
It's always going to be some haters. Marcello, drop the social media. Where can people see you live next? And hopefully you agree to come back on the show some other time, sir. It's been a blast. Go ahead and drop all that info for us.
All right. Twitter, you can follow me at Marcello. At Marcello_Spade. Instagram, Marcello_Spade. I actually have the weekend off to celebrate Memorial Day, so I'm actually going to start filling up my calendar again at the beginning of the next month. So I've got nothing right now, and I would love to do that going in the future.
All right. Sounds fantastic. Well, we appreciate you coming on, my friend. The door is always open.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
You got it. Peace. All right, gentlemen, it is time to hit a quick break. Let's go ahead and hit a quick 1 minute break, followed up with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and then get into the world's greatest fantasy wrestling group, the FWWC. Plus, I got to pee. So hit the music, Timmy.
We'll be right back.
Baseball season's underway. Well, you better get ready for a brand new day. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Go, Cubs, go! Go, Cubs, go! Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Cubs are gonna win this game. Go, Cubs, go! Go, Cubs, go! Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Cubs are gonna win this game. They got the power, they got the speed. Be the best in the National League. Well, this is the year and the Cubs are lead. So come on down to Big League. We're singing now, go Cubs, go! Go!
Hey, wrestling fans, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat talking at you, and you're listening to the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Are we
Ladies
back?
and gentlemen, we are back.
We're back. We
We
are
are
back.
back. We are back. What you think of that break song? Hey, I got word that's what he wanted us to play for his break song.
You know what?
Yeah.
I respect Marcello Spade as a in-ring competitor and as a man, but man, his break song was terrible. And here's something you got to realize. I don't even hate the Cubs, but Luke Roberts comes on here every single week and keeps throwing his damn Cubs propaganda. Honestly, I'm getting a little tired of it, so that's why I got to give him some crap. But with that being said, Nightmare Jones, it is time for business to pick up. That's right, it's time for the FWWC segment. We've got some huge announcements. I've got a message right here direct from the board of directors concerning quite a few championships. But before, you know what? Maybe I'll do this first, and then I'll let the callers react. What do you think about that, Nightmare Jones?
I think that's a great idea.
All right, so let's do it real quick. And for those of you who are members of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter, you need to go to the chat and let everybody know that this news is about to drop right now. They cannot miss this news. This is huge news. Okay? So, without further ado, and I'm going to make this quick because we got Big Daddy P coming up in just a few minutes. Concerning the following championships, the Intercontinental, the Tag Team Championships, the UXT Tag Championships, the UXT Championship, the Euro title, and the Warriors Heart Championship. I have here in front of me when these titles will next be defended. Okay? And it's a huge deal. So if you miss this, you're gonna feel pretty crappy because you're gonna be late to the party. And I want to remind everybody that every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. right here on WrestleTalkPodcast.com, we have a full 1 hour show that covers exclusively the FWWC. That's right, AJ Atticus, the admin Dewan Mills, and La Familia's very own Richard Priest all take the time to break down every single match, every single beef, coming off pay-per-views, coming off Monday Night Raw challenges. So if you can't get enough of the FWWC, the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter, you need to go to WrestleTalkPodcast.com. You need to go to Blog Talk Radio /Wrestle Talk Podcast and make sure you follow us so that you never miss an episode of the world's greatest fantasy wrestling podcast. Now, there are certain things that only happen here on the FWWC segment on the Wrestle Talk Podcast on Wednesdays. I always like to keep a couple of things up my sleeve, okay? Because we want you guys to tune into the Wrestle Talk Podcast. It's fairly simple and easy to understand, right, folks? Yeah, thought so. Okay, so let's start first with the UXT Tag Team Championships. They were recently captured by the Outsiders, Robert and the Heel Deal. And I do believe we have Robert on hold. So I'm going to go ahead and make this announcement, let him come on for a few seconds, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the UXT Tag Team Championships will next be defended at, not Extreme Rules, but on June 4th at Money in the Bank. At this point, there are two separate teams, I think, that have at least staked a claim. One of them has done it publicly, and that is the newly joined to Joker's Wild, The Law, and the American Outlaw, Cowboy Kula have just recently joined forces and joined Joker's Wild. I know they're interested in trying to capture those tag team championships of UXT, but there's also another team that has been hinting, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, that is interested in competing for the right to face the Outsiders at Money in the Bank for said championships. So it's going to get hot in UXT, and it's going to get hot real quick during this summer. But before I go on, let's go ahead and bring on Robert, one half of our current UXT tag team champions. Sir, you got about 30 seconds.
What up, guys, and Let's Talk Podcast. So just recently heard about that news. I'm very excited for the UXT division to actually pop off, and actually I see no competition in the UXT tag team division. I mean, you got basically the Joker's Wild newly formed little tag team. That's basically how Luchadors and Battle Cats basically saving grace right now. Basically trying to pass off the torch off to newcomers, but I don't see where that's going to be any threat to us. But I mean, well, I'm open up to any challenges that's going to come by.
All right, Robert. Well, listen, just really quickly here, I'm going to have you comment on defeating Blitzkrieg this past Saturday for the UXT Tag Championships. How did that feel? Did you see it coming? A lot of people saw you guys as underdogs, but you pulled it off. Any thoughts on that win?
Basically, to be honest, no, I did not see it coming. Do I have confidence in our team? Yes, but I figured that Blitzkrieg would hold on to them titles a little longer, making a bigger feud than what it has been. But I guess they just dropped the ball. So I guess I think they're a little too concentrated on one of them two going to the main roster than holding on to what they have.
All right. Well, fair statement for one half of our current UXT Tag Team Champions, the Outsiders. Robert, we appreciate you joining us. We must move on.
Thank you again.
Thank you, champ. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Next, I believe we have another caller on the line that'll be interested to hear this news. A man that competed in the 7-man battle royal for the UXT for the UXT #1 contendership for the championship, currently held by Massacre, and that man's name is Funky Flex. We're gonna get him on in just a second, but I do want to announce that the UXT title will be defended not at Extreme Rules, but at Money in the Bank. At this very moment, it's the Saint versus Massacre, but the Ghost is making a very strong push. I mean, as we're sitting here right now doing Wrestle Talk, I'm reading the FWWC, our Facebook page, Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter on Facebook, and the Ghost and the Champ are having quite a back and forth. Now, a lot of people know Ghost lost by a frog's hair at Backlash and was not able to capture the UXT championship, but he feels that since he's climbed higher than everybody else in UXT at this point, as far as the new guys go, that he wants himself back into the UXT tag championship kind of picture. So he's doing what he can to ruffle the feathers of the champ and everybody else. But again, at this moment, at Money in the Bank, as it stands, we have the Saint facing Massacre for the UXT championship. Now, with that announced, I want to get the thoughts of one of the men that was in that battle royal, Funky Flex.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, coming from Cowboy Cooler's mama's house, we got Funky Flex.
Cowboy Cooler. Oh my goodness, that's the greatest intro ever. Funky Flex, welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, man. What's up?
What's up, Rene? Funky Flex.
¿Qué pasa, man? Tell us, what's on your mind, brother?
Man, these guys that just entered the tag team tournament, the Law and Cowboy Kula. Well, not tournament, I'm sorry. These guys,
we know what you
they
mean.
done drove me to drinking. I done drove down here to the nearest Piggly Wiggly, picked me up the cheapest 12-pack of Trailer Park beer I could find. I'm on my way down here. I'm going to find the law, and I'm finding Cowboy Tula, and I'm ready to kick some ass.
Wow. Now, what is your beef with these guys? I mean, obviously, they just joined Joker's Wild. There were rumors that they were thinking about kind of putting together their own thing. But what is the heat between you and these two guys now of Joker's Wild? Where did this all stem from?
Sunday at Backlash. The law blindsided me. I came out. I was going to kick his ass Monday on Raw. He tried to run me over. He broke Roxanne.
Wow,
I can't replace Roxanne. Where am I going to get a new Roxanne at?
Hey, listen, I totally understand, man. So the question is, are you looking for revenge? I mean, have you tried to figure out how it is that you can get in front of these guys? I mean, currently you're one man. And I don't necessarily know how smart it would be for you to try to face off against Kula and the law at the same time. I mean, are you prepared to take on both of them at the same time if you have to? Or I mean, do you have a game plan at this point, and more or less is what I'm asking?
Funky's got a few game plans up his sleeve, but just know, Funky's always down for a fight. Funky will take on whoever, whenever.
All right. Well, Funky, we appreciate it. We are a little short on time, but we'll let you go, man. We appreciate you coming on as always, and we can't wait to see what you do next, my friend.
All right, everybody, get funked up.
Get funked up indeed. All right, so before we move on to the main roster championship announcements, we got one more guy on hold, a guy that always seems to capture everyone's attention when he comes on because of his smooth, silky voice. But recently, he's not been in a good mood. He is, ladies and gentlemen, the last descendant of Egypt, the one, the only, Julius Cairo.
Hello, gentlemen.
Mr. Cairo, welcome back to the show, sir.
It is your pleasure to have me on this podcast this evening. Did I not say before my debut I would make a statement, and did I not do just that? I have done legendary things in only 2 matches. I have wrestled 7 men, and those 7 men have become well acquainted with me. And there is a person I have my eye on, and this person is a so-called living legend. However, he has yet to do anything legendary in my eyes. I debuted in a 7-man battle royal that I was added to. And on top of that, I ended the undefeated streak of a one Mr. Vincent Knight. So I, right now, want to issue a challenge to a so-called self-proclaimed living legend, Michael Reese.
Wow, calling him out live right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Mr. Cairo, I must say, defeating Vincent Knight was quite the accomplishment. He was 8-0 in singles competition, and you achieved it. So one must ask, you call yourself the last descendant. What pharaoh and king are you actually a descendant of? Because as far as I can tell, you've got the bloodline, you've got the pedigree, but I'm curious, where does this all stem from?
Where this stems from, quite frankly, it does not matter which pharaoh you speak of, whether it be Ramesses II, whether it be Xerxes, whether it be King Tut. The thing you must realize is this, is that when you are a descendant of pharaohs, you are viewed as a god. And I am just that. I am a god personified, sir. And what I plan on doing is finding an opponent who will cause me to unleash my true abilities. And I believe that a one Mr. living legend Michael Reese, living legend, He may have the ability to cause me to unleash the beast that lies within my soul, that will cause me to call down the powers of the gods of Egypt. And I guarantee whoever stands in my way shall perish.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Julius Cairo, one of the latest additions to the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter. See more at WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Second to last tab on the right, Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter. Find out all about us, man. If you're not in it and you're a wrestling fan, you are missing out. And in the words of Dak Draper, shame on you. We got one last caller, but before we get there, I'm going to make these final announcements because we're running low on time. And by the way, somebody on Facebook just called Julius Cairo a blasphemer. Don't necessarily disagree with that. All right. So, concerning the tag team championships. Oh, everybody's been waiting. Everyone's been anxious. We'll get there in just a second. The Intercontinental Championship, currently held by Richard Priest, will be defended at Extreme Rules. Who his opponent will be, we don't necessarily know yet, Nightmare Jones. But what I can tell you is that the championship will be competed for at Extreme Rules, so I suggest Mr. Richard Priest start getting himself ready because it's going to be a big deal. It could quite possibly be our main event. Next, I'm going to move on to the tag team tournament. All of the teams that were in the tournament have competed, and we have 4 teams remaining. Interestingly enough, we have 2 teams from the Steampunk Collective, and we have 2 teams from La Familia. In order to keep things fair, in order to keep things interesting, here's how it's going to shake out. Next Monday night, the Metal Maniac and Mason the Mechanic Murray will face Arden Murphy and Massacre in a Steampunk Collective versus Steampunk Collective round 2 matchup. The team that wins moves on to round 3. And by deductive reasoning, one would assume that the Moonshine Mother Truckers will be facing a surprise team in this tournament, a mystery team in this tournament, a team comprised of the current Intercontinental Champion, Richard Priest, and a man who's hard to describe. I'll just leave it at this. The dude's been here, and he's accomplished more than anybody in the group's history, and that man's name is El Mata Ratas. So next Monday night, Money, Power, and Respect will face the Moonshine Mother Truckers. And of course, the Metal Maniacs will face the Steampunks. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be tremendous. And no matter who moves on past round 2, the Titans of Time better look out, because you've got 4 teams that are hungry. No, that are starving to take those championships away from you. With that being said, we're going to let our next caller come on, and then we'll move on to the final news of the night with just about 3 minutes left. Jimbo Slice, the news just broke. Big Beer Kenny's watching us via the Facebook live feed. Can we get your brief thoughts on the announcement that was just made? Jimbo, you're up. What are your thoughts?
That's it?
Wow. Never faced you or Rick.
Well, I don't know what you mean by you. You're talking to the BOD here. Who are you referring to? Oh yeah, that guy. Oh, El Mata. Yes. I agree. Understood. So, how do you feel about that?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight. Be prepared.
You know, for a lot of reasons, I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, you talk about Big Beard Kenny and Richard Priest, who have settled their differences since becoming members of La Familia, but they've got a history. And then you want to talk about the two current superstars that probably have reached the highest point that anybody has ever reached here in the chapter, Jimbo Slice, you, and the aforementioned El Mataratas. So there's no doubt about it that this match alone is worthy of a pay-per-view main event, and we're not only going to get that on Monday, but we're also going to get the Steampunks versus the Mechanical Maniacs. Another match that would in its very own right be entitled to a pay-per-view main event. Jimbo Slice, always great to have you on, but we have to move on because we're in a time crunch, sir. We appreciate it.
Peace out.
Peace out, Jimbo. Woo! Big news. Here's the final news of the night before we move on. The Warriors Heart Championship, typically only defended 4 times a year. The big 4, right? Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, and I always forget the other one. SummerSlam, right. Always defended at the big 4. Via the board of directors, a decision has been made to add one more pay-per-view a year that the Warriors Heart Championship will be defended in, and it happens to make sense because there's a significant amount of time between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and that pay-per-view is none other than Money in the Bank. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Kronos, the Titan of Time, your current Warriors Heart champion, will be defending that championship at Money in the Bank. Who? Against Nightmare? It's possible, Nightmare Jones. I mean, I don't know if anybody has earned a right. I mean, you're a double champion. It would only make sense for a double champion to face a triple champion, but that has not been announced yet. What I can tell you is that from 2017 onward, the Warriors Heart Championship will be defended not 4 times, but 5 times a year. Kronos, the Titan of Time, better have his head on the swivel because that is the most prestigious championship in the FWWC, and if he wants to keep it, he better be paying attention 360, baby, all the way around, because whoever earns that opportunity is going to be a damn worthy competitor, and that's all I got to say about all that. Nightmare Jones, I know we're really tight on time. Do we have Big Daddy P on the line ready to go? And it looks like Nightmare Jones is screening. That may be Big Daddy P, and that would be perfect timing because we usually go about 3 to 4 minutes with Big Daddy P. And then we have our featured guest of the evening. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, WWN's own ambassador, Trevin Adams. I actually just finished watching Evolve 84. Well, I should say I started watching Evolve 84. And I could talk to this guy for days, but we're going to get him for about 20 minutes. And so when that time comes, I hope you guys are ready because we're going to be talking a lot of WWN with FIP. We're going to be talking Evolve. I mean, I could just keep going and going, but that will come in just a moment. Nightmare Jones, is Big Daddy P ready to go?
Intern Timmy says that he is not called in yet, so we are still trying to get a hold of him.
Okay, that's fine. Not a big deal. So what we're going to do, at least just for this week, is we're going to actually move on to our featured guest of the evening. You guys heard me kind of make some hints throughout today's show that we're going to have a very special guest. We're having the ambassador join us, ladies and gentlemen. The ambassador of WWN, a man who has been with WWN since 2013. And honestly, I'm quite jealous because if there was any promotion that I had an opportunity to be involved with directly, it would be WWN. Not just because they are the hottest thing going right now, but because they're not just one promotion. They're multiple promotions encapsulated under this umbrella of WWN, and I dare to say that they have the best independent, really, screw that. They have the best wrestlers on the planet competing for them on a week-in, week-out basis. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to the show for the very first time, the ambassador himself, Trevin Williams. Hit that music, intern Timmy.
Mr. Trevin. Thank you so for calling in.
I'm glad to be here, guys, and I'm very impressed. I think I got you that MP3 like 10 minutes ago, and you pulled it out of your butts in time. Very good.
Really, really excited. Like, I'm the one that actually got Rene involved in the WWN because of the fact that I got him a subscription to Flow Slam. And
oh, well, look at you.
It has been a roller coaster since then. Like, he's always messaging me, telling me, dude, this show is awesome. This show is awesome. I myself, I like all of them, but my favorite is Shine Wrestling. That's what I started watching.
Well, but I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? You guys said it. You know, the idea of the World Wrestling Network, it's an umbrella. There's multiple promotions, and you know, the attempt is at least to have something for everybody, right? And as you pointed out, you know, if you happen to be a fan of women's wrestling, well, boom, you know, Shine Wrestling. It's, you know, consistently, virtually every month, at least every 6 weeks, you know, there's a show, there's stories, you know, basically how many women are getting snatched up right now, so you can say you saw them then. But you know, that's kind of the idea.
Well, no doubt, and allow me to jump in here. Allow me to jump in here respectfully, Joe. Trevin, thank you for making time. I have it on good authority that you're just kind of coming off a flight, so hopefully, you know, that kind of doesn't lag you down any. But I've seen you in action, sir. You're a busy man, and you always seem to find the energy to do your job. So, again, we're extremely thankful for you being here today.
Oh, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, you know, show day is always insane day, so you know, there's not a lot of standing still for anybody on the team. I mean, it is, you know, it's always a blur, to say the least.
No doubt about it. So let's start at the beginning here real quick. I'm not really privy to what you did before you joined WWN. So I'm curious, man, how do you land kind of a dream job, in my opinion, with a company that obviously had their stuff together even back then, but now obviously you guys are bearing the fruits of all the hard work that happened you know, in the formative years, I would say. How did you end up in this spot, man?
No, that's a great question, actually. And you know, it's funny because you were spot on with the timing. It was, you know, definitely very beginning of 2013 is when I joined the team. And it's funny because, you know, I'd say the path that kind of exists now, you know, to get involved in more of the kind of capacity that someone like me would be involved in. We started doing back in, I would say it's the fall. We started doing creative seminars. We've done 2 of them now. You know, Gabe Sapolsky runs them. There's actually another one coming up August 11th in Joppa, Maryland. And, you know, I start from this point, and then I'll make it more me in a second. But, you know, we just did the Midwest tour. I heard you guys mention Evolve 84.
Yeah.
You know, so we just did the 2 Midwest shows. And actually, I'm, you know, through a long, I had another thing added onto it, and that's what I'm actually just getting back from. So it's been the never-ending 5 days of travel, you know. But the point being, there's a guy named Chris T-Bone Jorer, right? And you know, Chris is one of the guys who did the seminar. Came up to New York. He lives in Michigan. And not only was he, you know, interested, not only did he, and here's one of the big keys, came, helped, did whatever he could to be helpful. Like, went out of his way to go, guys, you know, the next night there was another Evolve that particular weekend, and he's like, hey, what can I do? You know, he's like you know, literally, you know, you want am I sweeping the floor? Am I setting up chairs? You know, the idea of helping, you know, I'll come back to that again, but that's a biggie. You'd be surprised that seems to be a lost art. But regardless, you know, Chris went one further and said, look, I'm really interested in trying to promote something with you guys and in the Midwest. And we wanted to get back to Chicago for sure. And, you know, Dragon Gate USA had run Troy, Michigan, which is, you know, kind of near Detroit. But, you know, that was years ago. In fact, here's your main event from that show was Akira Tozawa versus Johnny Gargano. So where did those guys go? Who knows?
Right, exactly.
But kidding aside, yeah, right. But kidding aside, you know, that's kind of one of those, you know, you jump out, you show you're serious, and, you know, and boom, now here's a guy who, you know, 100% in the family, and it just happened. And, you know, my entry point was similar but different in that the timeline, you know, it was late 2012. You know, I'd known, if you watch the first Ring of Honor show from 2002, front and center, you'll see me sitting there, right? I grew up right outside Philly. We were all fans, still fans, right? You know, and so I'd known Sapolsky. You know, and you know, and I went to enough of these shows that, hell, if you watch WrestleMania 27, second row, a little bit to the right, you'll see 2 guys with Shima goggles. You know, Shima, the Dragon Gate wrestler,
right?
The big Dragon Gate USA shirt. yeah, this is one of those guys, right? So again, you get a little bit of an insane super fan on you, but part of it was the pride, and I knew it was awesome wrestling. And in fact, I remember somebody asking me what those goggles were, WrestleMania 27, when we're walking down the way Atlanta is. For those who haven't been there, everything's kind of like if you're staying in a hotel downtown, the arena's there, the stadium was there. I mean, it's all kind of in a line, right? And so you're walking down, and somebody says, "What the hell are you guys wearing?" And I say, "It's from the best wrestling you never heard of." And I didn't mean to sound like such a hipster, but it is what it is, right? But but that was the thing that kind of drove me nuts. Hence terms like ambassador, right? Wanted to get the word out. So I did a similar thing to what Chris did, which is I approached them. And I knew that the owner of the World Wrestling Network, Sal Hamley, I knew he was out of Tampa. He was getting ready actually to relaunch Full Impact Pro. I live in Orlando, so I said, hey, I'm dead serious. I would love to promote a show with you guys. And of course, the initial, oh yeah, sure you do, right? Trust me, ask Chris Bonjour. It's not trivial, albeit he did a phenomenal job, by the way. I would have never dreamt the Detroit area would outdraw the Chicago area, to be honest. And both were amazing crowds. I'm not talking any crap on Chicago, and I'm looking forward to grow it. But Detroit was ridiculous. I mean, it was just the building. I mean, I thought I was in Queens. I mean, it was just insane with the energy, right? And it's one of those things that, it's really how I came in. I was actually, even though I'd already been working for the company about 5 months at that point, Evolve 20 is actually, little did you know, Trevin Adams promotes, and so that was, that was kind of the entry point. And then the growing into different roles, this gets back to that, hey, seize opportunity /be helpful. I didn't show up and go, oh man, I would love to do commentary, or man, ring announcing seems cool, or, can I host crap? I came in and I was doing any damn job they needed. To this day, like you joked, you'll see me. I mean, hell, especially Mania weekend, I am the guru of the ticket fly, right? So I make sure all that crap's working, before and after the show, and somewhere in between, do about 7,000 other things, right? And I'm not complaining when I say that. I mean, that's the whole idea is, being helpful at any time anything needs to get done. There's no job that's too good for any of us. I mean, hell, Sal owns the damn company and, sits in the damn van to make sure it gets where it needs to go, and he drives that at Tampa. So picture all the places you see us, and, you picture, and I've done that van ride plenty of time, and again, that's part of being on the team. And that's one of those things, and I heard it was an old Cole Cabana podcast with George South, said kind of the same thing. He was like, hey, young wrestler, you're looking to get over with me, set up the damn chairs, help with the ring, and I'll be honest with you, we had a tryout in Detroit a couple days ago, and I made it a little test. I actually went up to Tracy Williams and I said, hey, should I say something, or should we just see what they do? And what I mean is, we drove up with it's raining. We drove up with a whole trailer full of the production crap, and I was already dressed because I just knew there was going to be no time to get changed. So I'm already in the damn suit, and we're unloading the thing, and there's 30 guys standing there, and not a single one. Actually, I was surprised. There's one or two guys I think if they noticed they would have been, but not a single dude jumped out. So if you were on that tryout seminar, you didn't get over with Trevin Adams when you didn't jump up and help get the damn crap out of the truck. Right, and that's usually one of those things that I notice the guys who want to be helpful. My favorite, there was a guy on the crew, I'll probably get yelled at for telling the story, but there's a guy on the crew who, we got the ring from, and he comes up to me, he's like, hey, this is while I'm carrying crap in a suit. Hey, man, if you need anybody for security tonight, let me know. And actually, at the point that he said that, I had a heavy-ass box that, I was about to pull up on the stage where we were filming from, and I was like, hey, get the other half of the box. That's what I need right now, right? Well, needless to say, I not only said, yeah, okay, we'll see, but dude goes and sits down and watches us bring all the crap in.
Come on.
Like, it's just hilarious. But I'm telling you, it's little things, and I hate to be like, oh, what are you just looking for slave labor, Trevin? And honestly, everybody who did the tryout, technically they paid for it. For the tryout and the seminar, and I think they probably more than got their money's worth. However, that's the other reason I wasn't just like, get your ass out there, which is what I would do if it was a bunch of students or something like that. However, it also is showing you, it's very telling, the people that, again, 1 in 20 in that particular seminar were Chris Bonjour. There were two other dudes, to their credit, that showed up the next day, and were trying to kind of figure out, like, hey, like, can I be helpful? And I tried to give them tasks, and they kind of just got lost and scared and ran away. But again, you'd be surprised how simple it can be to help any promotion. If somebody's listening right now and goes, oh, man, I love my favorite local indie, trust me, they need help. I don't know one indie out there. Maybe PWG may be one of the few that's like, dude, we're self-sufficient, get out of here, right? But everybody needs some damn help. And there's a difference between actually coming and helping and just trying to be a leech and not pay, the $10 for the damn ticket, right? But so don't mean to go on such a tirade, but true story, it's kind of funny how it all dovetails, right? Because we literally just showed somebody kind of go through a similar path to what I did, and now we have the trail to kind of get in the loop and learn more about how this business works from the point of view of not being a wrestler through things like these creative seminars, which again, yes, cheap plug, but August 11th in Joppa, which is actually, it's right north of Baltimore. It's actually a cool area. But, it's cool. I will be honest, I didn't get to go to the second one. It was Mania. There was a bunch of craziness going on. I was getting ready for Kaiju because some guy that kind of looks like me hosts Kaiju Mania weekend. So I didn't get to go to that particular one. I know when I ran into folks afterwards, they all seemed like they had a good time, and you get to hear some interesting war stories. But like I said, that first one, that was really, really interesting to hear the insights. And a couple guys, it was we still had Drew Gulak at that point, Gulak, and Ethan Page came and talked a little bit too about what it's like interacting with promoters, and it's just a really neat way to learn about the business. So that's a very long ADD answer to how the heck I came to be.
Quite all right, brother.
My question is it involves Shine Wrestling, and you've been involved with Shine Wrestling for a while, and just recently there was a Shine wrestler by the name of Kennedy Brink that got signed to the WWE as a referee. How does it feel to know that she got signed as into the WWE? I don't know if you actually worked with.
So that's like announced. Like you're not trapping me here, and I'm confirming a rumor.
No. She actually announced it on her Facebook page and whatnot.
Okay, perfect.
I'm not
perfect. Then beautiful. And I'm not sitting here at my computer or anything, just looking at her Twitter real quick. Be like, did you say something? So all right, well, what the hey? So good. If she announced it, great. Yes. So this is what it's all about, right? It was just a couple months ago. We had she was Andrea. And I will totally admit I don't know what she's using as her name in NXT right now, but people graduate, so to speak. Really just want to Heidi Lovelace. A lot of these folks head up there. Now in the case of Kennedy, it's very unique that she's going in as a referee, but not in a bad way. The thing with her that's amazing, if you look really closely, is even since she had her Shine debut, you'll see that she's continued to get into more and more phenomenal shape. Once upon a time, she was a larger girl, and she got incredibly diligent with her diet, with her exercise, and she's pretty much shredded right now. It's insane, right? So I happen to love her as a wrestler. I love her. I think she's an awesome heel. I think she could honestly make money, in my opinion, getting to do that. However, she's gotten to work with some of the best referees in the business. One I'll name drop, a guy named Frankie Gastineau. Huge fan of Frankie, and anything we do in Florida, and pretty much every Shine, he's the lead official. You're going to learn from these guys, and the people that often make the best referees are people who have been trained to wrestle, because they will understand what needs to go on between the proverbial ropes of the squared circle. And that's one thing I won't pretend I know, right? I can think I know, but not having done it, the footing, the where you need to be, the remembering, honestly remembering the sequence of things. Frankie's one of those guys that can insanely do that. And getting to work with people like him, getting to kind of learn the style from them, and then also having the capability as a wrestler, I think that's a recipe to just make you a freaking awesome referee. So again, while personally, I still would love to see her as what you've seen before on Shine. I think in WWE she's going to be a phenomenal referee.
Well, yeah, and go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rene. I was going to shoot it to you, but go right ahead, sir.
All right, no doubt. I appreciate it. No, and I appreciate it. Well, Trevin, I mean, honestly, like I said before you even came on, man, like I'm kind of a babe to this wrestling thing. I mean, I was one of those guys that was a fan when I was a kid, up through the Attitude Era, and then like took about a 15-year hiatus as I started to become a young father. But over the last couple of years, I've kind of like fallen back in love with wrestling, starting with CM Punk feuding with Undertaker, and then a year after that or so, I was introduced to fantasy wrestling, then to independent wrestling. And then here we are today with, a semi-successful show based out of the Midwest. So whenever I get a chance to talk to guys like you, it's always intriguing. I almost feel like a kid in a candy store. But it's more so the case with no, truly, it's more so the case with you. But because there's a trend now, and the trend is people want realism. People want to feel like the fights that they're seeing are real, and we all get it. Wrestling is what it is. But there's something special going on at WWN, and there's a lot of it. But one thing in particular, and that's Catchpoint. What those guys are doing is they're creating this atmosphere of competition that I don't think we've ever seen before. You're there in the front row, literally. You're there backstage, literally. Are you getting the same feeling being there that I'm getting just being a spectator from those guys and everybody else on the roster right now? Because it's kind of insane, man.
Well, it's so you bring a really interesting point, especially going for Catchpoint. I don't disagree. And when the whole concept of really Catchpoint, both the words uttered out of Drew Gulak's mouth, it was actually back Media Weekend 2014. Wait, what year is it? 2015. No,
right.
Yeah, 2015. I take it back. There we go. Whenever we were in California, 2015, right? Yeah. So time flies when you're having fun. And it was when we opened up that weekend. I want to say that was Evolve 39. But he basically talked about, hey, I'm gonna show a style. I'm gonna, show kind of a dedication. He actually proceeded to beat Tim Thatcher, by the way,
right.
In the opening of the weekend.
He did.
And it was, it was interesting because that really did kind of permeate Gulak both on camera and off when it came to truly that competition. And not in a, I'm a butthead, I'm better than everybody here, but more of like, hey, I want to get out there and I want to have a match, I want to have a match unlike any other one on the card, and I want to push people. And it was interesting because I got to see it and this is the reason I honestly remembered the number, as I thought out loud, was just a couple weeks before that particular weekend, we had Evolve 38, it was on a Sunday, and it was up in New York, it was up in Long Island. It was kind of unique that we had a kind of a one-off show, and we main evented it with Drew Galloway versus Roderick Strong in a cage. But earlier that night, and every so often I get to kind of sneak in, and it doesn't get rewritten. I'll write one of the YouTube video descriptions, right? And I particularly had snuck this into one of the phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen these, Kenny Johnson mini docs, phenomenal.
Wait, let me stop you. Hey, Trevin, let me stop you right there, just real quick, because that actually was going to be my next question. Who was the genius behind these mini docs? I mean, I have Flow Slam, and of course, I'm going to try to watch every Evolve that I can. But let's be real, there's a lot of wrestling. I can't watch every single show right when it comes out, and maybe a week or two later. But these mini docs, I saw the one with Kyle O'Reilly. I saw the one with Keith Lee. I mean, I could just keep going and going, and I think that's probably, the wrestling, what you guys do is what you guys are doing in the ring is the best. But besides that, these mini docs, man, you got, I was getting chills last night just watching some of them, dude. Please tell me you have something to do with them because they are fantastic.
No, I will take negative credit, right? I will put it on Kenny Johnson. And Kenny is an awesome dude. And this is legit as legit can be. Here's how these things came to be. Kenny had done a few videos here and there over time. And he had approached Gabe. Gabe was definitely interested. And they threw out a couple ideas. Hey, do one on Timothy Thatcher. Do this, do that. And so Gabe will throw some, hey, here's what I'm looking for. But then Kenny's the artist. Kenny goes out there and he finds a way to make each one of these feel different too. And the one I was about to plug was the one on Catchpoint. The idea that it's not a stable, it's not a team, it's a philosophy. And that one's worth going back and, catching up on. And in fact, for folks, so I already mentioned it's on YouTube, but actually we have it on our Roku channel. The free preview channel has all of the mini docs. And we actually now have an Amazon Fire, however the heck that works. But basically the only way we can do the app is the free preview channel. They don't let us tie it to the WWN Live account. Okay. So it's literally just a free preview channel. So if you have whatever the heck in Amazon Fire, whatever the heck doohickey, and I got Amazon Prime, I love you Amazon, but I don't know what the hell Amazon Fire app things are on a TV or whatever. But, point being, there's multiple ways to see these things, but that's a particular one too that was really cool. Because it followed around Gulak explaining the idea, the fact that it is about competition, that it's a philosophy, and for someone like me who's gotten to see, really how that really, was everywhere he went. I mean, everything he did, and that went into guys like the Tracy Williams, let alone guys like a T.J. Perkins who had been a star for years. But Matt Riddle, I mean, heck, I was there ground level, when Matt first came in with us,
bro.
And I was
had to say that.
A lot of people. And I'm not gonna lie to you. When the first weekend we had Matt Riddle, I was like, oh my god, wow, we're just taking anybody now. Ex-UFC guy, huh? And we didn't have a ton of interaction that weekend. The next, I want to say it was a month later, our next weekend, so this will be the most ADD thing, but I promise I'll tie up all three, which is the, what the heck was I talking about with Catchpoint, the Kenny Johnson, and now we're on Matt Riddle, right? But so what happened was we had a Florida weekend, and that was the one where, the second show we had an angle where Riddle ends up joining Catchpoint. He attacks Timothy Thatcher. They act like there's going to be a tag match. And they leave Thatcher laying in the middle of the ring. And, and it was well done. But when it was all said and done, I ended up hanging out for the evening with Gulak, with Williams, and with Riddle. And I had an opportunity to talk to Matt in quite a lot of detail to kind of figure out where he was coming from. And, well, why are you wrestling? And, what is this? You did UFC, got kicked out. What's the deal? No, dude's actually, a huge fan of wrestling. And obviously, he was freaking good. He got so fast. But he
reminds me of Angle, by the way. Just the way you picked it up so quick, it kind of reminds me of the Kurt Angle story, just to kind of throw that tidbit in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a perfect parallel. Yeah. I wholly agree. And honestly, I think if Matt was given a stage like Angle was given at this point in his career, Matt would be a household name already. I think he's going to be a household name already.
He is.
Or not already, but sooner than later. But agreed. I wholly agree. And these are the kind of guys that, because they're, no kidding athletes, because they are no kidding, technicians who can really do these things, it plays in. And, and getting to watch those guys even then, work together. And you could see like a Riddle chomping at the bit, because Gulak is just so freaking good. Yeah. Especially when it comes to no kidding catch-can wrestling. I mean, there's not a lot of people that can do what he can do in the ring.
And they're hiding him on 205 Live. What are they doing? They're hiding him on...
Well,
it drives me nuts. I'm sorry. I don't want to take this off the road here.
But it honestly reminds me of... he had an angle in CZW about the whole... and I was on the periphery, so I apologize, CZW fans, that I don't know the full angle. But something along the lines of that he was there for a better CZW type thing. And so it was kind of like he was the actual wrestler in CZW, and CZW was still full of, guys that mauled each other, right?
Right.
And so he was a part of helping change that brand. And I feel like that's kind of the character, but a couple weeks behind, haven't seen it. Obviously going to reserve judgment, see where they go with it. I'm just tickled pink. I'm watching guys like him and Nice and, all these guys, TJ, that, I joked Dallas last year, right? You look at the card from our Evolve and our WWN Super Show, and all of these guys are basically in WWE right now. It's a shame how few guys aren't signed from that particular weekend right now. But regardless, it ties together when I bring up Riddle, because you could see him kind of, again, chomping at the bit. I want to catch up to these guys. I want to be as good as them. And it was really cool because, like you asked, the realism and the, what really permeates with these guys. And Fred Yehai, and maybe I'm sitting on a mini doc about Fred Yehai that's going to drop in the next day or two.
Which he just left Catchpoint. I saw that.
Kenny Johnson.
Yeah.
So you can all hate me right now. I can watch Kenny Johnson doc. You can't watch for a couple days, right?
Not fair.
About Fred, but Fred is another one of those guys that and especially the way he came in. And actually, what's fascinating is if you watch Fred's debut match with us was Fred versus Leo Rush, and it's been very interesting to watch how their two careers have went now kind of back together in a way when it comes to. What's that? I'm sorry?
No, I saw that match, and Leo is, like I said, we could probably go for hours, but Leo's one of those guys that when I first saw him at Maryland Championship Wrestling, thank you, Joe. Joe turned me on to Leo. I was like,
oh, yeah.
How is this guy still in the Indies? I mean, it's insane. You know what I mean? Like, it really is.
Well, no, and he's gotten so good so fast, too.
Yeah.
But absolutely. But it's just interesting to kind of watch these time points, that's kind of why I'm hitting them. But about the same thing with Fred. Fred was a perfect fit because he's a guy to this day, I promise you, you will watch a match with Fred that he was in, and you will see him, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, oh, this will be better. I mean, he is just his biggest critic, but he's, but in a constructive way, not just, one of those, oh, I suck, and you want to hear people say you're good. Like, you could tell he's truly analyzing it. He wants to get better with everything he does, and, and that's what's awesome. I mean, heck, the last New York weekend, Evolve 83, when it was him and Kyle O'Reilly, I was tickled pink. Especially the night before, watching Kyle and seeing what he was going to bring to Evolve when he was working Keith Lee. I went, my God, him and Fred's going to be phenomenal. Just to see kind of they both had certain aspects of being non-traditional. But so to tie a couple pieces of this up, how does this fit into what I was starting to talk about with Evolve 38? Well, there's a match worth checking out. That's Drew Gulak versus Chris Hero. And in my opinion, it was really to me the first no kidding catch point match. When it came to the what these guys did, how they tried to out-wrestle each other. If you watch it really closely, I mean, you will see two dudes in there that it's really a battle of, Chris hits something big on you, he's going to take you out. Gulak's doing everything he can to, keep just enough distance and to take out those tree trunks. And, you will watch and you will feel like you're truly watching a battle of two competitors, and I thought it was incredibly well done. And that particular weekend, Rob Nealer and I we were, together on the commentary because, again, the funky way the weekend works, having the one show, Lenny wasn't able to be there, et cetera, Lenny Leonard. And, it was just, it was one of those things that was really unique. Now, how does that, tie through again? Well, kind of, and Chris was another one of those guys, or Cassius Ono is something.
Yeah.
Another guy that's incredibly talented and also incredibly competitive. Right? He's a guy that wants to be the best, and he knows how good he is, but he also wants to stay the best. The whole, greatest of all time stuff, and he was saying that, I assure you, before it was being said on national television. Yeah. He's serious about it. And like, again, not in a cocky, like, screw you guys kind of way, more of a, I want to keep this street cred, and I'm going to do everything I can, and he's, 20 years in the business, and, and that damn good, and that's, things like that. That is, to you, again, another incredibly long answer, but, to your point about kind of what makes these things special, I think stuff like this definitely helps make it special.
Okay, and I have one question, and we also want to invite you to be part of our weekly Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. We'll do a little bit of a trivia. It's always fun, so we hope you'll join us for that. But I have one question that you may not be able to answer, and if you can, it's totally okay. I would totally respect if you can't. My question is about something that I saw. It's something that I saw happen at Evolve 82, where it was Kyle O'Reilly versus Keith Lee. During the match, it's just an incredible match, but it ended very strange. I think Kyle this is what I think. Kyle unintentionally kicked Keith in the jewels as Keith was standing facing the crowd on the second rope, and he was disqualified. And so here's the question. Are you guys, I don't know, it feels like it, but I could be wrong. Is Evolve doing this thing now where not every single match has an absolutely 100% decided finish like it has for so long? Are you guys like now starting to let some of these things just happen organically? Because it felt organic to me. I go, wait a minute, this match doesn't look like it's supposed to end here. And then when you see O'Reilly's interview afterward, he goes, I get it, but I could have just got a warning. Maybe I'm just losing myself here, Trevin, but it felt like it shouldn't have been that way.
And what's funny is things get so busy that, I honestly don't know the legit answer. I really don't, which is funny because I called it and I wondered, I wonder what happened there. But never got around to talking to anybody. Isn't that funny? Now that you say it, I'm like, yeah, why don't I know the answer to that? But realistically, here's what you saw is the referee's empowered, right? I mean,
yes,
and you've seen it.
Yes.
I think that's still the case right now in WWE, but you've seen it ebb and flow over the years there. In a case like this, even though inadvertent, what are you going to do? I mean, especially that's in Laboom.
You got to call it.
Freaking loud as that crowd. They're all screaming, dude just got kicked in the jewels. What can the referee do? And then it was, Keith Lee took the prerogative to say, no, that's now I want, Kyle O'Reilly's debut against me to go. And
right.
Where the rest is. But you're absolutely right. And you can definitely see it's one of those, well, the referee's empowered and now we got to work around it.
And that's a magical thing because the ref tends to almost seem like an extra in these matches when in reality, not that the ref should be a focal point, but like you said, the word is perfect. They're empowered now, and the referee is a credible entity within the match, and I think that it went a long way in convincing me that what Evolve is doing, or I should say WWN as a whole, is like, hey, we're not going to try to outsmart the crowd. We're going to just let things happen. And of course, wrestling will always be what it is, but it was so unique. And for a guy that watches as much wrestling as I do, it's almost sickening. I really didn't know. And I was like, wait a minute. And then Keith went in. Then I don't want to give the whole thing away for those folks that want to check out Flow Slam, go back, watch Evolve 82. You definitely should. But the point is, it's a special thing you guys got going, Trevin. Okay, that was mistimed. We apologize for that drop. But that does mean it is time for the Wrestle Talk Game Show Challenge. Trevin Adams, are you ready to go against the Night Owl?
Sure, it probably won't go well, but let's do it.
Yeah, I'm not on a very good streak myself. So now, intern Timmy, hit the music. We got to get a new intern. Jeez Louise.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Wrestle Talk Game Show Challenge. I'm your host, Joe Land. Today we have Mr. Trevin Adams and Rene Martinez, the Night Owl, going one-on-one with announcer trivia. I'm going to be giving you a couple clues to a famous announcer. It could be in pro wrestling, boxing, the UFC. It'll be a famous announcer. I'll give you a clue. Whoever shouts out the answer first gets a point. We'll play the 3 points. Whoever gets 2 out of 3 wins. It's pretty simple, correct?
Okay, let's do it. So whoever shouts it out first. So even if I get it before you finish the question, I'm going to shout it out. Is that cool?
I mean, if you're asking me, I think that's totally fair. If you guys already know the answer, go for it.
Cool. Hey, listen, I'm a big Ric Flair fan. Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying it. Let's do it.
All right. This first announcer is announcer for the UFC. He's famous for saying the words, "Let's get it on."
Michael Buffer.
Isn't it
not Michael Buffer.
It's not?
Brother, Bruce Buffer or whatever?
Bruce
Buffer. Damn it. Oh, shit.
Wow.
I botched that one. My bad.
Evan has won.
You should have had it. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Dude.
I got lucky on that one.
Shit.
Finished at UFC, I was like, oh, God. Yeah, Michael Buffer was the last. Get ready to rumble.
All right, let's do it. What's next?
This next announcer is known for being a boxer announcer with "Let's Get Ready to Rumble."
Bruce Buffer. No, wait.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Damn it. The other Buffer brother. Does that count? The other Buffer brother?
No, you said Michael Buffer. That's what I heard.
I did. Okay, I didn't know if you guys heard me.
Okay.
Cool. All right. 1-1.
Yeah,
Woo.
1-1. So this last is a iconic WWF announcer. He was a wrestler. He had his head shaved. They used to call him the Fink.
Yeah, obviously Howard Finkel.
Fink. Damn it.
Howard Finkel.
I thought you were going to go with Taz. All right.
I mean, all you had to say was WWF announcer, and you probably meant Howard Finkel. I doubted you were bringing up Tony Chimmel or Mike McGurk, so, there weren't a lot of places you were going to go.
Yeah, and Lillian Garcia was never bald, as far as I know.
No, you're right, and I guess technically she was there when it was WWF as well. Touche.
True. Hit the music, Timmy.
That means that Trevin has won. That means that you get your this is your music for Rene.
Victory music.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
And they stay there. All right. That's enough celebrating. I'll take my loss like a man, but listen, Trevin, this was an absolutely wonderful experience for us. It was absolute joy to have you compete against myself. in this trivia challenge, and we can only ask that you do two things, man. How do people follow you? WWN. What's an upcoming event, man? And will you do us the honor and the pleasure of coming back on some other time?
Oh, I would love to. You're absolutely right. I mean, we barely even got to scratch the surface. So thank you guys for having me. And indeed, for those of you who want to follow me on Twitter, it is _Trevin_Adams, because somebody beat me to Trevin Adams, and darn it, underscores are cool, right? And then on Facebook, kind of similar problem. But I'm Trevin Adams Trevin. But easy enough to find. Trevin at WWNlive.com if you want to email me. And indeed, WWNlive.com, all the info, all the upcoming stuff. You mentioned FlowSlam.tv, which is the exclusive way to watch all our stuff live. And in fact, this very weekend, I'm home just in time for Full Impact Pro Presents Accelerate 2017. Jam-packed. It's a different FIP. It's definitely not for all ages. A lot of four-letter words since the relaunch at the beginning of the year. So that's Friday, May 26th. And no problem at all if that's a little too edgy for you. And then on Saturday, May 27th, Style Battle Season 1, Episode 4. It's a cool concept. Basically, the idea is it's going to be eight-man tournament. Wow. 8 different winners. They'll have a final tournament at the end of the season. The winner is the no-kidding Style Battle champion of the entire season. And, it's going to be good stuff. If we had more time, I'd go into tons of details on these. But again, WWNlive.com has that. Then after that, we've got American Combat Wrestling presents The Tradition Continues on June 3rd. And then before you know it, we're up in Massachusetts and on the 24th, and Queens on the 25th of June for more of all. So, 5 shows a month on FlowSlam.tv from WWN, let alone the numerous other things. Like they just had House of Hardcore the other night. I mean, there's just, I understand, look, the best value, and I get nothing for saying this, but the best value in all of pro wrestling is the WWE Network. Kid me not. I mean, it's insane how much you get for $9.99. But from the point of view of indies, and people were paying $14.99 to $19.99 for one freaking show. Now with something like FlowSlam, you've got everything at your fingertips. You've got the video on demand, the live shows. $20 a month. Yes, I get it. It's twice the cost of the network. But if you're an indie fan, you're still getting a freaking amazing value for the price. And it's one of those. I think it's a great way to keep up with us, and it makes it a lot easier and easier on your wallet than it used to be when it was, hey, I got to sell every show individually to you. And it's a great opportunity to see guys before you see them on 205 Live or WWE or other places in the world.
No doubt, and let me just throw in this little caveat. Next time we come on, we're going to be talking about Stokey Hathaway, was one of my favorite characters that you guys have. And then in July, if you're a huge fan,
love that guy,
he's tremendous. And now he's with Catch, so that's going to be even more interesting to see how it plays out. Then obviously in July, if you're a big fan of women's wrestling, the way my buddy Nightmare Jones is, you're going to make sure you catch up with the Nova. They're going to be announcing or crowning a Nova champion in a 16-woman tournament that'll take place over 2 days, July 13th and 14th. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrestle Talk Podcast, maybe one of the best shows we've done recently, all thanks to the wonderful guests, the Wrestle Talk family, and of course, Trevin Adams. Thank you, sir, for being a part of the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was my pleasure.
Grace and peace.
Thank
Adios.
You.
Nightmare Jones, closing thoughts.
Woo! Man, what a freaking show. Like, we gotta have Marcello Spade come back on and Trevin Adams. Like we gotta make that happen. They got to come back on.
Absolutely, man. Well, I got nothing, man. We're 7 minutes over. It's time to close out the show. Nightmare Jones, you have yourself a wonderful evening. Wrestle Talk family. Mwah, 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 mwah. We love all of y'all, man. Grace and peace to everybody. We are out.
Peace.
Peace.